Hey everyone, before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone.
We're diving into a topic that's on everyone's mind right now, tax refunds.
Absolutely, it's that time of year again.
The IRS officially opened the floodgates for 2025 tax returns on January 27th. But there's a bit of a shadow hanging over this tax season, potential delays.
Right, we're seeing some rumblings about potential staff layoffs at the IRS.
That doesn't sound good. Layoffs?
Yeah, possibly due to budget constraints.
So how might that affect things for, the average taxpayer?
Well, it could create a backlog in processing. Some reports suggest up to 15,000 IRS employees could be laid off.
Wow, 15,000. That's a significant number. What kind of impact are we talking about here?
Well, it could definitely impact various services, possibly even affecting certain taxpayer demographics disproportionately.
Okay, that's concerning. So knowing this, what can we do to, make sure we get our refunds as quickly as possible?
Filing early is always a good strategy.
So the early bird gets the refund.
Basically, yeah, the sooner your return is in the queue, the better.
Makes sense. Now, let's talk about filing methods. I know there's been a big push for electronic filing.
Absolutely. E-filing is the way to go for speed.
Is it really that much faster than mailing a paper return?
Oh yeah, significantly faster. Mailing a paper return could add 3 to 4 weeks to the processing time.
3 to 4 weeks. Yikes. So e-filing it is. But, some people have concerns about the security of sharing their information online.
I understand those concerns. It's crucial to be cautious. Strong passwords, making sure you're on the official IRS website, and watching out for phishing scams are essential.
Good points. All right, let's move on to tax credits. What about folks claiming the earned income tax credit or the child tax credit?
Those are important credits, especially for families. However, they can sometimes lead to delays because the IRS needs to verify the information.
I see. So is there anything people can do to speed up the process if they're claiming those credits?
E-filing with direct deposit and making absolutely sure all the information on your return is accurate. That can help a lot. In fact, if you do all that and there are no issues with your return, you could get your refund as early as March 3rd.
March 3rd. That's good to know. So filing early, e-filing accuracy, those are the key to a fast refund. But what if your financial situation is, a bit more complicated? Multiple income sources, investments, major life changes. Do those things impact the timeline?
Yeah, they can. Complicated returns can take a bit longer for the IRS to process.
Okay, so it's not always a simple, straightforward process.
Right. And if you have any outstanding federal debts, that can also delay your refund.
Debts hanging over your head. Yeah, that makes sense. So we can't control everything, but we can definitely take steps to help things move along. Now, can you give us a general idea of how long the refund process typically takes?
Generally, you can expect your refund within 10 to 21 days of filing if everything is in order.
10 to 21 days. Okay, so not too bad. But I understand there's also an estimated refund schedule available, something to give us a more specific time frame.
There is, but keep in mind it's just an estimate. CPA Practice Advisor put out a chart that gives a good visual representation of this timeline.
Okay, what does that chart tell us?
Well, for example, if the IRS accepts your e-file return by February 3rd, you might see your direct deposit refund by February 14th. Paper checks would arrive about a week later.
So there's definitely an advantage to choosing direct deposit for speed. But some people might be hesitant to link their bank account directly to the IRS. Others just prefer having a physical check.
Those are valid preferences. It's all about choosing the best option for your individual needs and comfort level.
Right, so direct deposit is efficient, but it's not the only option.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that filing during peak season from late March to April 15th could mean longer processing times regardless of how you receive your refund.
So plan ahead, file early. That's the message. But life happens. What if someone just can't meet that April 15th deadline?
Don't panic. You can file for an automatic extension using Form 4868. That gives you until October 15th to file your return.
That's a release, but it's important to remember that extension only applies to filing the return, not paying any taxes you owe.
That's right. Those taxes are still due by April 15th, even with the extension.
It's crucial to remember that. Okay, let's talk about resources. The IRS offers a bunch of helpful tools, both online and in person.
They do.
And those resources can be really beneficial, especially for folks who find the whole tax process a bit intimidating.
Absolutely. One great tool is the Where's My Refund feature on the IRS website.
Where's My Refund? I've heard of that.
It lets you track your refund status. You just need your social security number or individual taxpayer identification number, your filing status, and the exact refund amount.
Handy. And what about for those who prefer managing their finances on the go?
There's the IRS To Go mobile app for that.
So you can check your refund status from anywhere.
Exactly. You can also make payments and even access free tax help through the app.
Technology really has made things more convenient, but sometimes you need more personalized help. What about face-to-face guidance?
The IRS has several in-person assistance programs, too.
Tell us more about those.
Well, there's the IRS Free File program. This is a fantastic resource for taxpayers who earned $84,000 or less in 2024. They can use the IRS Free File Guided Tax software, which is available through October 15th.
Free, always a good thing. Are there any specific resources for military members and veterans?
Yes, there's MilTax, offered by the Department of Defense, that provides free return preparation and electronic filing software for federal income tax returns and up to 3 state income tax returns.
That's great for our military folks. And what about in-person assistance?
There's the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, or VITA.
VITA, okay.
It offers free tax preparation to individuals who generally make $67,000 or less, people with disabilities, and those with limited English proficiency.
That's a valuable service. What about seniors?
For them, there's the Tax Counseling for the Elderly program, or TCE. They specialize in answering questions about pensions and retirement-related issues.
So there's a whole network of support out there. Now, circling back to those potential delays we talked about earlier, the staff layoffs at the IRS, how much of a concern should that be for taxpayers?
It's definitely something to keep in mind.
It's easy to get complacent and assume everything will go smoothly.
Right. It's important to stay informed. Those reports suggest up to 15,000 IRS employees could be laid off. That could definitely impact processing times and lead to delays.
So being prepared and filing early is even more crucial this year.
Absolutely. And now let's discuss the most efficient way to receive your refund once it's processed.
We've talked about e-filing being the fastest way to file. But once your return is processed, what's the most efficient way to actually get your refund?
Well, the IRS strongly recommends direct deposit. It's by far the fastest way to get your money back. No waiting for a paper check in the mail and no risk of getting lost or stolen.
Makes sense. Plus, it's good for the environment, right? Less paper waste.
Exactly. Direct deposit is a win-win. Okay, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about filing extensions. We all know filing early is ideal, but sometimes life gets in the way. What if you need a little extra time to gather your documents or sort out a complex tax situation?
Yeah, things happen.
In those cases, you can file for an extension using Form 4868. That gives you an automatic extension until October 15th to submit your return.
Okay, that's good to know. But, and this is important, that extension only applies to filing your return, not paying any taxes you might owe.
That's exactly right. Any taxes due are still due by the original April 15th deadline.
So don't get caught out thinking you have extra time to pay. Now, let's dig a little deeper into those IRS resources we mentioned earlier, specifically the Where's My Refund tool and the IRS To Go mobile app. Can you walk us through how those work and how they can help people track their refunds?
Sure. So the Where's My Refund tool is on the IRS website. It allows you to check the status of your refund. You'll need your social security number or individual taxpayer identification number, your filing status, and the exact refund amount.
And the IRS To Go app basically does the same thing, but on your phone.
Yep, that's right. It's great for people who prefer to manage their finances on the go. Both tools provide real-time updates, which can be helpful in reducing some of the stress and uncertainty of waiting for your refund.
That makes sense. Speaking of stress, tax season can be a real headache for some people, especially those who find the whole process confusing or are working with a limited budget. What resources are out there for those who need help preparing their tax returns?
Well, the IRS has a few programs that offer free tax preparation assistance. One of the most popular is the IRS Free File program. It's available to taxpayers who earned $84,000 or less in 2024.
Okay, so a pretty significant portion of taxpayers qualify for that. And what about specific help for military members and veterans?
There's a great program called MilTax offered through the Department of Defense. It provides free return preparation and e-filing software for federal income tax returns, plus up to 3 state income tax returns.
That's fantastic for our military folks. What about in-person assistance? Are there options for those who prefer face-to-face guidance?
Absolutely. The Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, or VITA, offers free tax preparation services to individuals who generally make $67,000 or less, people with disabilities, and those who have limited English proficiency. And for seniors, there's the Tax Counseling for the Elderly program, or TCE, which specializes in questions about pensions and retirement-related issues.
It's great to see such a wide range of resources available. Okay, back to the estimated refund schedule. Earlier, you mentioned a chart from CPA Practice Advisor.
Right, that chart can give taxpayers a general idea of when they can expect their refund based on when the IRS accepts their return.
Can you give us a few examples from that chart?
Sure. Let's say you e-filed your return and the IRS accepted it by February 3rd. You could see your direct deposit refund by February 14th. If you're getting a paper check, it would probably arrive about a week later.
So again, direct deposit is the fastest option. What about people who claim the earned income tax credit or the child tax credit?
Those returns might take a bit longer due to the verification process. According to the chart, those refunds might not arrive until March.
And of course, filing during peak season, late March to April 15th, can also slow things down.
Yeah, that's why filing early is always a good idea. But even then, there's always a chance your refund could be delayed for some reason.
What if that happens? What are your options?
If you're working with a tax professional like a CPA or EA, they can usually provide more specific guidance and insight into your refund status. They have the expertise to navigate the system and get answers.
And if you're doing your taxes yourself,
The IRS has tools like the Where's My Refund online tool and the IRS To Go mobile app that allow you to track your refund and see what's going on.
those are good options for staying on top of things. All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, from potential delays to resources for assistance and tips for speeding up your refund. We've really dug into it.
Yeah, we're trying to equip everyone with the information they need to make tax season as smooth as possible.
Absolutely. Because when it comes to your finances, knowledge is power. Now, let's address a common concern about direct deposit. We've talked about its efficiency and security, but some people might still be hesitant to share their bank information with the IRS.
That's understandable. For those who prefer a more traditional approach, getting a paper check is still a perfectly valid option. It might take a bit longer, but it gives you that extra level of control over your finances.
Right, so while direct deposit is encouraged for speed and convenience, ultimately it's a personal decision. Taxpayers should choose the method that aligns best with their comfort level and financial habits.
Exactly. There's no right or wrong answer when it comes to receiving your refund. It's about finding what works best for you. Now let's touch on another situation that can sometimes cause confusion. We've discussed filing for an extension if you need more time to complete your return. But what if you simply can't afford to pay your taxes by the April 15th deadline? Well, the IRS has some options for those situations. They understand that things happen and sometimes people face financial difficulties.
So you're saying it's important to communicate with the IRS if you can't pay your taxes on time.
Exactly. Don't just ignore the problem. The IRS is usually willing to work with taxpayers to come up with a solution. They have options like setting up a payment plan, or in some cases, you can request an offer in compromise.
And offering compromise, what's that?
It basically allows you to settle your tax liability for a lower amount than what you originally owed. Of course, certain conditions have to be met.
So there are ways to navigate those tricky situations. It's reassuring to know the IRS is there to help, even when things get tough.
Definitely. They want to help people meet their tax obligations, even if it takes a little flexibility.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we?
We have. We've gone over potential delays, talked about all sorts of helpful resources, and given tips on how to speed up your refund.
It's been a comprehensive overview of this year's tax season.
Hopefully, everyone who's tuned in feels a little more informed and prepared to tackle their taxes.
Absolutely. Before we wrap up, any final thoughts or advice for our listeners?
Just a reminder, even if you're not quite ready to file your taxes just yet, start gathering all your documents and information now.
Good point. Get organized.
Exactly. It'll get the process so much smoother and less stressful when you're ready to file.
Great advice. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the 2025 income tax season. We hope you found this information helpful.
And remember, knowledge is power. Stay informed, and you'll be able to navigate tax season with confidence.
Until next time, everyone. Okay.